Week 18 of the fantasy baseball season, and here's a few pitchers I look to buy and trade for this week. The first pitcher, Bryce Miller of the Seattle Mariners. Bryce Miller, it's been a pretty decent year. Definitely improvement from last season on the year. 126 and two-thirds, 8-7 record, 113 Ks, a 3.62 ERA, a 1.05 whip, and 11 quality starts. But the last couple weeks, he's starting to get hit around a little bit. 10 and two-thirds, 1-0 record, 10 Ks, a 5.91 ERA, a 1.31 whip, and a quality start in the time. So Bryce Miller, you're still going to have to pay a decent price, I believe, to get him on your fantasy team. But over the last two outings, it hasn't been great outings for him. And if this is the time to go out there and make a deal for Bryce Miller while the numbers are down a bit before the trade deadline, I would go out there and try to make a play because Miller's a solid pitcher, only in his second year in the major leagues. And the Seattle team obviously going for it all, making some big deals at the trade deadline, getting Randy Arozarena, Justin Turner, Yimi Garcia, where they already had the rotation and needed bats. And I think Miller, after this bad outing, can bounce back in his next outing versus the New York Mets. August 9th, July 22nd versus the Angels, 7 innings, no decision. 3 hits, no runs, 5 Ks, a quality start. July 28th at the White Sox, 6 1/3, got the win. 7 hits, 3 runs, 6 Ks, a quality start. And August 3rd versus the Phillies, 4 1/3, and that one, no decision. 6 hits, 4 runs, a walk, 4 Ks. Miller, never a high strikeout player throughout his major league career for the most part, and even going down to the minor league stats. But I believe he still can help fantasy owners in a big way. And the last 2 outings haven't been great outings, especially his last one, only lasting 4 1/3 in that one versus Philadelphia. So I think Bryce Miller, still a solid pitcher, maybe hitting the wall a little bit where he's only 5 innings shy of his totals last season in the major leagues with this Mariner team. And right now, anytime a pretty decent pitcher comes off a bad outing, I would send out feelers and see if I could get him in a deal. And that's exactly what I would do for Miller this week. The next pitcher, Tanner Houck of the Boston Red Sox. So overall, the numbers have been great on the year for Tanner Houck. But the last month of the season, he's been batting practice, and I think he's hitting the wall a little bit on the year. 134 innings, 8-8 record, 123 Ks, a 3.09 ERA, a 1.14 whip, and a nice 15 quality starts in the season. But like I said, the last month, 23 innings, 1-2 record, 17 Ks, 5.09 ERA, 1.61 whip, and 2 quality starts. And digging a little deeper, the last 2 weeks, 11 innings, 0-2 record, 9 Ks, a 7.36 ERA, a 1.73 whip, and a quality starts. I think fatigue is definitely kicking in on the season for Tanner Houck. He's already pitched 28 innings more than he did all last season in the major leagues. And last year was a real struggle for him with a 5 ERA for fantasy owners in the Boston Red Sox. So I said early in the season, sell Houck high, because I believe he's not going to keep the numbers up. And that's exactly been the case, especially over the last 3 outings. But now, while his value's leveled out a little bit, I would buy him on a little bit of a discount. Still, I'm not going to overpay for Houck. I'm not expecting huge numbers, but I expect him to pitch in the middle between great and just a bad pitcher, where he's a mid-pitcher in the middle of your rotation for fantasy owners. July 22nd at the Rockies, 6 innings, no decision, 10 hits, 4 runs, 3 walks, 2 Ks. July 28th versus the Yankees, 6 innings, got the loss, 5 hits, 3 runs, 4 walks, 2 Ks, a quality start. And August 3rd at the Rangers, 5 innings, got the loss, 8 hits, 6 runs, 2 walks, 7 Ks. So walks have definitely been an issue as well for Houck over the last few outings, where he's got 9 walks in the last 3 ball games. August 9th, a middle-of-the-pack matchup versus the Houston Astros, where their offense has been up and down for the most part this season. But I believe Houck, he just has to get that second wind and get back to the basics, what he was doing early in the season, to improve. So right now, well, he's been hit around over the last month of the season. I don't think he's this bad. And like I said, I don't also think he's that great what he did in the beginning of the season, but I think he's a good middle-of-the-rotation pitcher for owners the rest of the way. Next pitcher, Matt Waldron of the San Diego Padres. I mentioned Waldron last week as a buy pitcher, and once again, I'm going to recommend Waldron. He's on a good San Diego team where they definitely turned things around over the last few weeks here. Now 9 games over 500. And Waldron, if you just want to pick him up off the waiver wire, is well available in 52% of fantasy leagues on the season. 128 1/3, 7-9 record, 116 Ks, a 3.79 ERA, 1.15 whip, and 10 quality starts for the knuckleballer. But the last 2 weeks, like I mentioned, 15 2/3, still has that 2-0 record, 17 Ks, a 5.17 ERA, 1.02 whip, and a quality start. So knuckleballer, Reminds me of an R.A. Dickey type. Here is Matt Waldron. Uncle Boy's not going to lose a lot of energy quick in ball games and fatigue out. And like I said, he's on a good San Diego Padre team that's definitely turned things around in the month of July. July 24th at the Nats, 6 innings, got the win. 4 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, 4 Ks. Quality start. July 30th versus the Dodgers, 4 innings, 5 hits, 5 runs, a walk, 6 Ks. Mind you, those 5 runs were in the first inning, and he really calmed down the last 3 innings in that one. And then August 4th versus the Rockies, 5 2/3. Got the win, 2 hits, a run, 2 walks, 7 Ks. So Waldron's K rate over the last few outings has gone up. 17 strikeouts in the last 3 games. But the last 2 outings as well, he doesn't have a quality start in Waldron. And like I said, you could just pick him up off the waiver wire as well, available in 52% of fantasy leagues if he's out there. Or make a deal for one of your last bench hitters or one of your hitters in your lineup, because I think Waldron, like I said, he still has a lot left in the tank, being a knuckleballer where you're not exerting as much energy and trying to blow batters away with 98, 99 mile per hour fastballs. And I think Waldron on a good team, and he knows what he's got to do to be successful in the majors this season. He's a buy low pitcher this week. Next pitcher, Gavin Stone of the Los Angeles Dodgers. Gavin Stone, he got off to a roaring start. He's been hit around over the last month of the season here, where I believe you could get him on a huge discount. And he's even available right now in Stone in 39% of leagues on the year, 111 2/3, 9-5 record, 87 Ks, a 3.63 ERA, a 1.30 whip, and 8 quality starts. And like I mentioned, the last month he's been batting practice, 19 2/3, 0-3 record, 14 Ks, a 6.41 ERA, and a 1.78 whip. So he hasn't had a quality start in the last month. Here is Gavin Stone. Definitely fatigue, I believe, for the youngster last season, only 31 innings in the major leagues. And in the minor leagues, he didn't pitch that much before he got called up as well. So definitely he's 80 innings over for when he pitched in the majors last season. And he's another pitcher, I believe, could find the second wind. And this Dodger team, they've been struggling, no doubt about it, especially after the All-Star break and especially with all the injuries they've had in and out of the rotation. But I still believe Gavin Stone's spot is good for now when he's a buy low pitcher. July 19th versus the Red Sox, 5 innings, no decision. 6 hits, a run, 3 Ks in that one. July 26th at Houston, 6 innings, got the loss. 9 hits, 4 runs, 2 walks, 3 Ks. And August 2nd at the A's, where you figured he would go out there and turn things around this Stone. But he didn't. 4 innings, got the loss. 8 hits, 5 runs, a walk, 5 Ks. So Stone hasn't had a quality start going back to June 26th. So he's definitely struggled a month and a half for this Los Angeles Dodger team. But like I said, he's still going to have a spot in this rotation. Yamamoto still on the injured list. Bobby Miller banged up in the minor leagues as well for this Los Angeles Dodger team. I know they got some reinforcements trading for Jack Flaherty. Glasnow, he came back off the injured list pretty quickly. And Clayton Kershaw now back in the rotation as well. But I believe Gavin Stone, we'll see what he does in his next outing here tonight versus the Philadelphia Phillies. But he's still a pitcher with good upside. And he was a top prospect in the system last year, and we saw good flashes early on. So right now, you could either pick him up off the wire or pretty much trade one of your last roster spot players for Stone in a deal this week. And the fifth and final pitcher I look to buy and trade for is Robbie Ray of the San Francisco Giants. Robbie Ray, he was out for the last season and a half, coming off of Tommy John, and traded from the Mariners to the Giants in the offseason. And so far, in a small sample size, and obviously on a pitch limit, is Ray, 14 1/3, 2-1 record, 21 Ks, a 4.40 ERA, and a 1.12 whip. So right now he's not going to get quality starts. He's only going 4 1/3, 5 innings at most is Robbie Ray. Even on the waiver wire, available in 33% of fantasy leagues. But this San Francisco Giant team, I think this rotation is very underrated in my opinion. Blake Snell, he's pitching to Cy Young caliber once again in the second half so far. Logan Webb, he's always been a solid starter the last few seasons. Birdsong has come out of nowhere from the minor leagues this year. And Kyle Harrison, I know he's had his ups and downs in Robbie Ray, but I definitely like the San Francisco Giant rotation. And they're in striking distance of one of these wild card spots. If their pitching could keep it going and the bats could just be mediocre, I believe they could win one of those wild card spots. But getting back to Ray, so far 2 out of 3 outings, he's been pretty decent, I believe. July 24th at the Dodgers, 5 innings, got the win. No hits, a run, 2 walks, 8 Ks. July 30th versus Oakland, 4 1/3, got the loss. 7 hits, 4 runs, 3 walks, 4 Ks. And August 4th at the Reds, 5 innings, got the win. 3 hits, 2 runs, a walk, 9 Ks. Robbie Ray's K rate is still great. And we know a few seasons ago led all the major leagues in strikeouts with the Toronto Blue Jays, and also has a Cy Young Award under his belt, as well as to Tommy John. It takes time for some of these players to come off the injured list and get things going, even up to 2 years at times. But I think Ray getting eased in, he still looked pretty good, even though most of these offenses in Oakland and Cincinnati really have been up and down offenses all season, and teams you could exploit either way. I think Robbie Ray, you still could get him on a decent price. And as he builds up his arm strength and gets more than a limited pitch count, I believe he's a pitcher that can help fantasy owners down the stretch, and someone I would deal for this week. That's a few pitchers I look to buy and trade for with the deadline approaching any day now, most fantasy leagues for Week 18 of the fantasy baseball season.